All right, good evening, everybody. Tere õhtust. For those who don't know me, my name is Veiko Parming. I ran for the vice president of the Estonian House last April for a simple reason, and that was to be a part of an exciting project that I believe can reinvigorate our community. Today you will hear about the progress that has been made on the Estonian Center project. But first I would like to briefly tell you about why I have chosen to be involved in this project. I believe that our community has reached a turning point where the fundamental question of what it means to be Estonian has changed. I came to this realization when both of my grandmothers, being the last of my grandparents, passed away several years ago. I admired my grandparents because, like so many others, they were in my books real eestlased. What I mean by that is that I loved their resolute demeanor, their practical frugality, and mostly I loved that they were eestlased to the core. It always felt completely unthinkable to speak with them in any language other than eesti keel. I cherished all of these things because even though I knew that I could not recreate all of this in myself, being of a completely different generation, but I saw and felt the meaningful ways that my grandparents had influenced my relationship with my culture in a way that even my parents never could have done. I say this because the reality is that many young people in lasteaed or eesti kool today may not have living ancestors who grew up in Estonia. Their fundamental conception of what it means to be Estonian is our mixed Canadian-Estonian identity. If our community is going to last for generations still, it will be because being Estonian appeals to them in a way that is new and different, even than for myself. In the Estonian Center, I see exactly this potential. A modern building for a modern generation. Our community is not huge. I believe that right now is our best, and perhaps only, opportunity to carry out a project like this. Not least because we still have a boomer generation that brings enthusiasm and experience, and a millennial generation that is starved for something new in our community. I believe that we can bring the same enthusiasm to building the Estonian Center that preceding generations brought to building Eesti Maja. I believe that a planned transition from our community home of the last 50+ years to our home for the next 50+ years is the most sensible and the most dignified solution to this proud building that would cost millions of dollars simply to maintain in the condition that it is in, without addressing any of the issues related to its basic functionality. I also believe that this project, at a minimum, can consolidate our two community centers into a single sustainable hub, and that, in the best case, it can do far more, energizing our youth, cementing Toronto as a true magnet for Estonian culture abroad, and bringing back into the fold members of our community who have drifted to the periphery. When I think about the Estonian Center, I aim to take a pragmatic and forward-looking approach. I try to avoid saying, for example, well, we could never hold Rahva Joulupuu there because without an orta room, there would be no space for the bouncy castle. And instead, I think about how nicely an outdoor Christmas market might fit into the courtyard. My point is that the Estonian Center is not going to be simply an Eesti Maja 2.0. It promises to be something new and different, but still our home. It's critical to note that this project, that these four organizations are jointly stepping forward to develop. As the due diligence process nears its conclusion, the four organizations will be making a go, no-go decision based on the best interest of our community. As you listen to today's presentation and ask questions, and over the next several weeks, it's my hope to hear first and foremost from those people who are in the middle. I encourage you to think independently and to think with a view not just to today, but to the future, about whether you can see this Estonian Center as our home for the next several generations. And if you can see it, to consider in what ways you yourself could envision being involved in this venture. With that said, I thank you, and I'll turn things over to tonight's host, Kari Niemand.